We have been reading this Panchayat Raj. Okay, so today this is going to be last session. We are left with four more points, four more articles, I would say. Okay, so today I'll complete those four articles, and then I'll take you through the binding provisions and the voluntary provisions. Which means, see, we can see, I mean, 16 articles. Yes, all the 16 articles are not binding on the states. Okay, some are mandatory to follow, some are states discretion. Okay, so first I'll tell you those four articles, and then I'll take you through this exceptions, I mean, what are binding and what are discretionary to the state. Okay, so we have seen, we started with article 243, and we have seen the definitions. Yes, what is district, panchayat raj area, intermediate levels, village, population, this we have seen. And then we have seen this gram sabha, this is important, article 243a. Okay, and then we have seen this three tier system, 243b, and 243c elections we have seen, 243d reservations we have seen, and 243f disqualifications. This is important. Okay, 243f. And we have seen state finance commission, 243 I, 243 I. And then we have seen state election commission, 243k. Okay, so these are important. If you can remember all the things, yes, you can remember. I mean, everything that you need to do is like you need to revise for 5 more times, and you need to write it down for 15 times. Automatically everything you'll remember. Okay, so remaining 4 things we're gonna see now. Okay, so write down article 243k we completed. Okay, then article 243l. Application to union territories. Okay, application to union territories. So just now I have told you there are 16 articles, and these 16 articles, it is not mandatory for the state to follow. State will come up with its own law. Okay, by following the law, the state government will implement those provisions. So when state government is coming up with its own law, okay, it will specify some things over there. Okay, if it wants to follow some things, it can follow. There are some mandatory things to follow, and remaining things, it is discretion of the state. If they want to follow, example, let's say OBC reservation provision. Okay, this is not mandatory to follow. If state wants to follow, then it can follow. Okay, so here state is deciding which things to follow and which are not to follow. Yes, in the case of union territories, who will decide? President. Okay, so president will implement this panchayat raj in the union territories. Okay, by making the necessary amendments, necessary changes in the panchayat raj act. Okay, so when it comes to the state legislature will come up with the act, and by following the act, state government will implement this panchayat raj system in the states. When it comes to union territories, president will implement. Who will implement? President will implement. President will implement this panchayat raj system. by making necessary changes. By making necessary changes. Okay, simple. For the states, state legislature will come up with a law, but for the union territories, president will make the provisions and he'll implement this Panchayat Raj system in the union territories by making necessary changes. Okay, next, Article 243M. Exempted states and territories. Exempted states and territories. Exempted states and territories. Okay, so this Panchayat Raj system, this act will not be applicable in some states and in some territories. Okay, first we'll see the states. Nagaland, Meghalaya, Mizoram. So this Panchayat Raj act, okay, it is not applicable in these states. One is Nagaland, Meghalaya, Mizoram. Okay, so it is not applicable in these states. Okay, not applicable. Not applicable in these states. Okay, and when it comes to territories, when it comes to territories, scheduled and tribal areas, scheduled and tribal areas, scheduled and tribal areas, which means schedule 5 and schedule 6. In the schedule 5 we have 10 states. What are the states? Himachal Pradesh, Rajasthan, Gujarat, Maharashtra, Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, Odisha, MP, AP, Telangana, and Assam, Mizoram, Meghalaya. So, to these the territories, the hilly, the tribal areas and the scheduled areas in these territories, this Panchayat Raj Act is not applicable. Okay, so anyways, we have seen for this Mizoram and Meghalaya, for the entire state it is not applicable, and for the remaining areas, wherever there are tribal areas, wherever there are scheduled areas which are mentioned in Schedule 5 and Schedule 6, this Panchayat Raj Act is not applicable. Okay, so we have seen Panchayat Raj Act is not applicable for states. How many states? 3 states. One is Nagaland, second one is Meghalaya, third one is Mizoram. And for the territories which are mentioned in Schedule 5 and Schedule 6, okay, you can write it as Schedule 5 and Schedule 6. Schedule 5 and Schedule 6. Okay, and done with this, write down. Try to write down without looking at the board. Done? Done, right? Okay, now this is one, and we have two more. Hilly areas of Manipur. Hilly areas of Manipur. Here also Panchayat Raj Act is not applicable in the hilly areas of Manipur. And one more thing, Darjeeling. Darjeeling. Here also this Panchayat Raj system is not applicable. Darjeeling. Here also Panchayat Raj Act is not applicable. Okay, so we have seen 3 states. Yes, Nagaland, Mizoram, Meghalaya, and then we have seen Schedule 5 and Schedule 6. In those territories, this Panchayat Raj Act is not applicable. And then in the hilly areas of Manipur, where cocoa is from, and then Darjeeling. Okay, so here in these 3 territories and in those 3 states, the Panchayat Raj Act is not applicable. Okay, so we are done with 12 articles. Yes, 2 more left. Article 243N, right? Article 243N. Okay. So see, it is not the case that the Panchayat Raj system came in 1993 only. Before also in many states, yes, we have seen in Rajasthan, it is implemented in 1959 only. Now all of a sudden this Panchayat Raj system came. Now it is constitutionalized. Let's say there is a Panchayat Raj system in Rajasthan. Okay, the Panchayat Raj system, it is continuing. In the year of 1993, this act came, and they asked to implement this act in 1994. They have given so many provisions in this act. Yes, but they are following some other provisions. Okay, now they have given some time period. See, now you are following some provisions. You can continue these provisions for one more year, but within 1 year, you need to change your provisions from here to here. Okay, you need to avoid the provisions which you are following before, and you need to implement the provisions which are there in this act. Understood? Should I repeat again? See, we have Panchayat Raj system before also, where the provisions which they are following, let's say some states are giving reservation for SC/ST, some states are not giving. Okay, some states are giving reservation for women and some states are not giving. Some states are having four-tier structure. Some states are having four-tier structure. Okay, and in some states, this intermediate level and this Jilla Parishad, they are indirectly elected. Okay, now in this act, the system is completely different. Yes, we came up with some rules and regulations. 21 years of age, women reservation should be there, SC/ST reservation should be there, three-tier system only we must follow. These all things are there. Okay, but they are following previous provisions till 1993. So they have given one more year to continue with their previous provisions, but within 1 year they need to avoid those provisions and they need to implement these provisions. Understood? Now write down. Continuance of existing laws and panchayats. Existing laws and panchayats. Article 243N. So this continuance only for 1 year. Only for 1 year. Within 1 year, they need to implement the provisions which are given in the new Panchayat Act. Within 1 year, they need to implement the constitutional provisions. Within 1 year, they need to implement the constitutional provisions. Understood this article? Yes? So the important articles we already covered. These are some general articles. But the one which we have seen, 243M, it is important. Because based on this, we'll have a act called PESA Act. PESA Act is related to this article 243M. Done? So they can continue with their existing provisions, but only for 1 year. Within 1 year, they need to implement the constitutional provisions. Okay? Next, last one, Article 243O. Okay? We started with Article 243, and I have told you the articles are from 243 to 243O. So this is the last one. Bar for courts to interfere in electoral matters. Electoral matters. Article 243. Oh, Article 243. Oh, okay. Okay. See, here courts cannot interfere in the electoral matters. When I say electoral matters, when the state is coming up with the delimitation commission, see, as we have seen in the center, we have delimitation commission. Okay, it will divide the entire country into MP constituencies, Lok Sabha constituencies, and MLA constituencies. I have told you this. Okay, so here in the state also we need to divide the entire state into panchayat areas. To do this, they'll set up a delimitation commission for state as well, but this state government will set up, not the central government. The one which is set up by the central government, it will do the delimitation for the MP seats of Lok Sabha and MLA seats of every state. But for the panchayat areas, this state set up the delimitation commission will divide. Okay, so whenever the government is deciding the constituencies and the allocation of the seats to the each and every district, there courts cannot interfere. Like, why you allocated these many seats to this district, why you consider this as a constituency, that's up to the state government. You cannot interfere there. But while the election, they have to follow some procedures. Corruptions you cannot do in the elections. Okay, and you cannot ask votes in the name of religion. You cannot ask in the name of the votes or in the name of region. Okay, so all these things you cannot do. Okay, if you are doing, then courts will interfere. And if officers, if they are not performing their duties and corruptions are happening, then also Supreme Court will interfere. I mean to say, like, courts will interfere. Okay, but while deciding the constituencies and while allocation of the seats, courts will not interfere. In remaining matters, courts will interfere. Understood? Okay, so only while deciding, only while deciding constituencies and allocation of seats. Allocation of seats. So only while deciding these constituencies and allocation of seats, courts will not interfere. And remaining matters, courts will interfere. Courts will not interfere. In remaining matters, courts will interfere. Courts can interfere. In remaining matters, courts can interfere. Then, with this, we are done with the constitutional provisions of Panchayat Raj system. Okay. Now we'll see the compulsory and voluntary provisions. When I say compulsory, these are compulsory for the state to implement. Sorry guys, a small interruption in between. Let me repeat the things again. So we are discussing this compulsory and voluntary provisions. Compulsory means it is binding for the states to follow, and the voluntary provisions means it is up to the state. If they want to follow, they can follow. If not the case, they can't. I mean, they don't have to. Okay, so here we are discussing compulsory provisions, wherein I have told you this gram sabha organization is compulsory for every state to follow. Okay, and the second one is article 243b, three tier system. This is also compulsory for everyone to follow. Okay, and then 243c, which is about election. Okay, I'll tell you about that election. Okay, for now we'll see this 243d, reservation. So reservation for SC ST, reservation for SC ST, it is mandatory in the proportion of their population. Reservation for SC ST in the proportion of their population, it is mandatory for every state to implement in the proportion of their population. This is mandatory for every state to follow. And then we have seen this women reservation 1/3, that is also mandatory for every state to follow. But the OBC reservation, it will comes under voluntary provision. Okay, so in the 243c we have seen only these three things. Yes, reservation for SC ST, reservation for women, and OBC provision. SC ST and women, it is mandatory for every state to follow, but OBC, it is voluntary. Okay, now write down this women reservation 1/3. Women reservation 1/3. 1/3 is mandatory. Okay, if they want to give more than 1/3, then it is discretionary, but minimum they have to give 33.33%. Okay, fifth one is minimum age of 21 years. Minimum age 21 years. This is also mandatory. Minimum age 21 years. So here we need to recall the things. For president and vice president, the minimum age is 35. For Rajya Sabha and Legislative Council, the minimum age is 30. For the Lok Sabha and the Legislative Assembly, the minimum age is 25. And for the Panchayat Raj, 21. Okay, so president, vice president, it is 35. For Rajya Sabha, Legislative Council, it is 30. Lok Sabha and Legislative Assembly, it is 25. And for the Panchayat Raj, it is 21. Term 5 years. This is also mandatory to follow. Re-election within 6 months. This is also the mandatory to follow. This is also mandatory to follow. This is also mandatory to follow. Done? And then State Finance Commission. This is also mandatory to establish for each and every state. And the State Election Commission, this commission only conduct the elections for panchayats. So this is also mandatory. Okay. And the 10th one, direct and indirect elections. We have seen ward punch, direct election, and up sarpanch, it is indirect election. Sarpanch, this is the voluntary power of the state, discretionary power of the state. Sarpanch, if they want to conduct direct elections, they can conduct. If they don't want to, in just like intermediary levels and the Jilla Parishad, what they are doing, first they are electing the members. Out of the members, they are electing their chairperson. So here also they can do like that. First they can elect the ward punches, and from then they can elect the sarpanch. Okay, but this sarpanch position, whether it is direct or indirect, it will be decided by the state. But trust me, each and every state is following direct elections only. So generally you will find direct elections in sarpanch. But it is the voluntary provision for the state. If they want to implement direct elections, it can. If they don't want to implement, it don't have to be. It will conduct elections with the ward punches, and out of ward punch, they'll select a sarpanch. Understood? Okay. So direct elections for ward punches, PSS and JPS. This is mandatory. Okay. And indirect elections, Pramukh, Upramukh, Pradhan, Upradhan, Pramukh, Upramukh, Pradhan, Upradhan, and Upsarpanch. For these, indirect elections are mandatory. For these guys, indirect elections are mandatory. For these guys, indirect elections are mandatory. So we are left only with this sarpanch, and that sarpanch will comes under the voluntary provisions of the state. Okay. Done. Let's have a quick revision. Yes. See, first one, Constitution of Gram Sabha. It is mandatory for every state to follow. Three-tier system. It is also mandatory for every state to follow. And then we have seen SC/ST reservation. It is also mandatory for every state to follow. And then we have seen women reservation. 1/3 it is mandatory. More than 1/3 it is discretionary power of the state. And then we have seen minimum age 21 years. This is also mandatory provisions. And then term 5 years, and then within 6 months you need to conduct the re-elections. This is also mandatory provision. And then state finance commission, state election commission, they need to form. This is also mandatory. And then direct elections and indirect elections. Direct elections for ward punch, PSS, JPS, it is mandatory. And indirect elections for Pramukh, Upramukh, Pradhan, Upradhan, and Up Sarpanch. These are mandatory. Okay. Now we'll see voluntary provisions. Keep a heading as voluntary provisions. Voluntary provisions. Voluntary provisions. Voluntary provisions. So first one is OBC reservation. OBC. OBC reservation. It is not binding on the state to give OBC reservation. If state wants to give, then it can give. Okay. Second one is women reservation. More than 1/3. more than one third. Okay. Third one is direct or indirect election of sarpanch, direct and indirect election of sarpanch, direct and indirect election of sarpanch. Okay. Fourth one is we have seen schedule 11, schedule 11, 29 subjects. Out of 29 subjects, which subjects must be given to the panchayats? This will be decided by the state. Okay. So what subjects must be assigned to the state will be decided by the state. What subjects should be assigned to the panchayats should be assigned to the panchayats will be decided by the state legislature. It will be decided by the state legislature. Done. Fifth one is authorizing panchayats to levy taxes, levy and collect taxes. This taxation rights to the panchayats will be given by state legislature. Okay. So this is, I mean, if they want to give, they can give. If they don't want to, then they don't have to. Okay. So this is also voluntary provision. Yes. Okay. And now the population basis is not decided. Okay. So in state government, I mean state only decides like for what population a panchayat will be constituted. Okay. So let's say in Rajasthan maybe it is for 4 lakh population, district will be constituted. In AP it is 3 lakhs, in some other state it is 2 lakhs. So the population basis will be decided by state. It varies from state to state. Okay. So the population basis for panchayats, for panchayat area, population basis for panchayat area. In some states, in a panchayat area there may be around 1 lakh. In some states it will be around 50,000. Same with the intermediary levels, same with the district levels. Though the population basis will be decided by the state government. And which year we have to follow, this will be decided by the, okay. So how much population and which year census, both will be decided by the state. How much population and which year census, which year census, both will be decided by this state. Okay. See, I have told you we have three levels, three tier system in Panchayat. One is Gram Panchayat. Second one is Panchayat Samiti. And third one is Jilla Parishad. So, generally in the Jilla Parishad, we'll be having odd numbers only 13, similar, something like that 13, 15, 17. Okay. So, here parties participation will be there. Political parties participation will be there. Whosoever is getting the majority, they'll be electing their person as Pramukh. And here also members will be there. Parties participation will be there. Whosoever is getting majority of the seats, their member from that party will be elected as Pradhan. But here, parties participation will not be there. If parties participation has to be there, then the Sarpanch has to be indirectly elected. So, if Sarpanch is indirectly elected, which means state government is promoting parties participation in the Gram Panchayat. If Sarpanch is directly elected, state government is not promoting parties participation in the Gram Panchayat. So, the participation of political parties in Gram Panchayat will be decided by state. So, it is the discretion or voluntary provision of the state. Understood? Yes? Which seventh point? Political parties in remaining two levels, for sure political parties will be there. Okay. So political parties participation in Gram Panchayats. Gram Panchayats will be decided by state. Will be decided by state. Will be decided by state. Okay. So one more point left. So be careful. So till now we have seen in Jilla Parishad and Panchayat Samiti we have elected members only. Okay. There are some ex officio members as well in some states. Okay. Those ex officio members are MPs and MLAs, MLCs. Okay. So some states will give this membership to these MLAs, MPs, MLCs, and some states they won't give. Whether to give or not, it depends on the state. Okay. So generally what happens is we have MP from Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, and in the state level we have MLA, MLC. Okay. Now we have Jilla Parishad here. And we have this Panchayat Samiti here. Okay. So generally we'll have JPS here. JPS plus some ex officio chairmen will be there. Ex officio members will be there. Okay. Those ex officio members will be Lok Sabha MP, Rajya Sabha MP, MLA, MLC. Okay. How it will be? See. JPS plus ex officio. Okay. In the ex officio, let's say from the district there is a MP. That MP will take part, take participation in this that Jilla Parishad. Okay. If that Jilla, if that district, there is a MP who is elected to the Lok Sabha, this MP will have membership in this Jilla Parishad. When it comes to Rajya Sabha MP, if that Rajya Sabha MP, they'll check his name in the voter list. From which district he belongs to, to that district he will be appointed as a member. Understood? For Lok Sabha MP, from where he elected to that district he will be appointed as a member. For Rajya Sabha MP, they'll check in which district his voter name, like his name is there in the voter list. To that district, they'll appoint him as a member. Clear? Okay. Same case with MLA. We have so many MLAs in a district. So all these MLAs together, they'll give membership in this Jilla Parishad. And for MLCs, if they have name in the voter list in that district, they'll give membership here. So here what will be the case? JPS plus 1 Lok Sabha MP plus there may be 2 or more Rajya Sabha MPs. Who knows? From the same district, the 2 MPs might have gone to the Rajya Sabha. So 1 or more MPs from here, and minimum 15 MLAs. Okay, and obviously 2-3 MLCs. Okay, they will be the ex officio members. Okay, when state is providing this provision, it will do one more provision, which is we have pradhans here in PS. All the pradhans will be ex officio members. All the pradhans. If state is coming up with the provision. Okay, if not the case, only JPS will be there, and JPS will be headed by this chairperson who is Pramukh. If state wants to provide this provision, it can provide like this. I mean, many states are following this. All the North Indian states are following this provision. Okay, so here in this PS, okay, PSS will be there plus ex officio members. Ex officio members. Ex officio members will be MP from that district. We'll see from where, to which district this Panchayat, Samiti will belongs to. This block belongs to. If let's say this block belongs to this district, the MP of this district will be member here. And if Rajya Sabha MP's voter name is there in voter list of this district, then he'll be the member here. The MLA who belongs to this area, not to the entire areas, only to this area, that MLA will be part of this. Okay, and the MLCs, if they are having their name in the voter list of entire district, they will be the member here. Okay, plus Sarpanch. Sarpanch. Understood? Confusing? Okay, simple. This provision, if state wants to give, it can give. If not the case, in the Jilla Parishad only JPS will be there, and in the Panchayat Samiti only PSS will be there. Okay, so now it became the discretionary power of the state. Yes, so this is the 8th point. Membership to MP, MLAs, MLCs, in Jilla Parishad and Panchayat Samiti. Okay, membership to pradhans in Jilla Parishad membership to pradhans in Jilla Parishad and membership to Sarpanch in Panchayat Samiti. sarpanch in Panchayat Samiti. So whether to give or not, this is the discretion of the state. Panchayat Samiti. Understood, right? This provision. Okay. These are the 8 voluntary provisions for the state. Let's have a quick revision. Yes, what are those provisions? Provision of reservation for OBCs. Women reservation, if they want to give more than 1/3, then it will be the discretion of the state. Direct elections for sarpanch, direct or indirect elections for sarpanch. Then schedule 11, we have 29 subjects. What subjects should be allocated to the panchayats? This will be decided by the state. And taxation power, that will be decided by the state. Population basis, this will be decided by the state. And then political parties participation in gram panchayat, this will be decided by the state. And membership to the MPs, MLAs, MLCs in Jilla Parishad and Panchayat Samiti, this will be decided by the state. And membership to the Pradhans in the Jilla Parishad will be decided by the state. Membership to the Panchayats, Sarpanch in the Panchayat Samiti will be decided by the state. So these are the voluntary provisions. So here state has discretionary power. So if you are preparing for APPSC or UPPSC or MPPSC or Rajasthan Public Service Commission, the provisions which we have seen before, those will remain the same for everyone, every state. If you are preparing for this APPSC, State Public Service Commission, then you need to look for these 8 provisions in your state. Understood? So if you will cover these 8 provisions according to your state perspective, your preparation to this Panchayat Samiti is completed. Okay? The provisions which I have told you is constitutional provisions, because we are preparing for UPSC. So we need to maintain the uniformity. So we need to keep each and every state in our mind. So I have given you the provisions which are uniform. If you guys are preparing for APPSC or any other state public service commission, please check these 8 provisions in your state and then go to the exam. Okay, rest everything, I'm sure that no one can give you this much of knowledge. Okay, each and every article I have told you. I'll bet on you. I'll bet with you. No institute will tell each and every article in case of Panchayat Raj system. Okay, maybe people, who learned from 4-5 institutes, they came here. Even they can compare this Panchayat Raj system which we have told you, and you can compare with your previous institutes. No one can tell you. Okay, but I have told you everything, and I'm expecting that you guys understood everything. Okay, fine. Let's see. I have told you this exceptions where this Panchayat Raj system will not be applicable to 3 states, and the schedule 5 and schedule 6 territories, areas, and then hilly areas of Manipur and then Darjeeling. Okay, so here they came up with one more law, which is provisions of Panchayat Raj extension to scheduled areas Act 1996. So by the name itself you can understand provisions of Panchayat Raj before it is not applicable to the scheduled areas. Now, to make it applicable to the scheduled areas, we are coming up with a law which is extension to the scheduled areas, the provisions of Panchayat Raj Act 1996. Okay, so I mean this is a quite big name, so people will call it as PESA. PESA 1996. PESA Act 1996. PESA Act 1996. PESA Act 1996. Okay, so in this act won't cover all the states and territories which are mentioned in Article 243M. This act, it won't extend to all the states and territories which are mentioned in Article 243M. It will extend only to the territories mentioned in the Schedule 5, which means only to the 10 states areas. Okay, so not to all the states and territories mentioned in Article 243M. Only to areas which are mentioned in Schedule 5. Areas, which means tribal areas mentioned in tribal areas of Schedule 5, which means those 10 states. Those 10 states. Himachal Pradesh, Rajasthan, Gujarat, Maharashtra, MP, Jharkhand, Odisha, Chhattisgarh, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana. So this PESA Act, okay, they extended the Panchayat Raj provisions to these 10 states. So this will become a statement question. Extended for the states and territories mentioned in Article 243M? No. They just extended the provisions only to the 10 state areas of 10 states which are mentioned in the Schedule 5. Okay. So with this, I can confidently tell you we're done with Panchayat Raj system. Okay. So Panchayat Raj system, we started from 1952. Yes. CDP and then National Extension Scheme, and then Balwant Rai Committee, and then Ashok Mehta Committee, and then GVK Rao Committee, okay, LN Singhvi Committee, and then Tungan Committee, and then Gadgil Committee, okay. Then I started this constitutional provisions. I have told you from Article 243 to 243O, and then we discussed not constitutional, compulsory and voluntary provisions. Okay, in the compulsory we have seen around 11, and in the voluntary provisions we have seen around 8. Okay, and then we discussed about this PESA Act. Okay, so PESA Act, see, Panchayat Raj provisions only, they made some amendments according to the tribal areas. Okay, then they implemented. For this, they took around 3 years. That was implemented in 1993 by the Union, and by the states they implemented in 1994. But this act that was implemented by Union in 1996. Okay. So with this, Panchayat Raj system is completed. I'll take some 8 hours of time in the next month. Okay. And I'll complete this municipalities. constitutional and non-constitutional bodies I'll complete there. Okay, so with this today's session I'm closing here itself. Okay, in the next month, which means from the Monday, I'll take some time, 8 hours. In 8 hours I'll complete the entire polity, remaining part. Okay, chalo then, bye for today. We'll